This is what happens when you turn your kitchen into a remote studio. This was being recorded live for television in America. If you keep watching, I'll show you the whole blooper. It's pretty hilarious. But first, let's talk books. Okay, Italian Katie, take it away. Ciao ragazzi, ciao da Trani. Oggi vorrei mostrarvi uno dei miei libri preferiti. In altre parole, di Jhumpa Lahiri. Lei è una scrittrice americana, si è innamorata della lingua italiana. Poi ha scritto in italiano. Forse un giorno nel futuro il mio italiano sarà abbastanza bene per scrivere in italiano, ma fino ad allora scrivo in inglese. 2 libri ad oggi, questo Avocados 2017, Cheese, Wine and Bread, Discovering the Magic of Fermentation in England, Italy and France, oppure Formaggio, Vino e Pane, alla scoperta della magia della fermentazione in Inghilterra, in Italia, in Francia. And a quick aside, if you're interested in learning Italian, I highly recommend this book. I mean, you have to have the basics for this book. If you want the basics, I can recommend a course, Italian with Davide. It's really fun, it's all online. I'll tell you more about it a little later in the video. I'm including information in the description box below. Oggi vorrei parlarvi come pubblicare un libro. Andiamo. There's so much that goes into getting a book published, and I was clueless, which is why I'm making this video, to give you guys a peek into my process and experience in writing this bad boy, my baby. If we haven't met before, hi, I'm Katie, I live in southern Italy. Ciao, sono Katie, vivo in Puglia e vivo qua con mio marito Connor. Ci siamo trasferiti da Londra, siamo americani. I make these videos every week, largely thanks to the Quirky Club, my incredible Patreon community. We have pizza night live chats. I drop an exclusive recipe there every month, behind the scenes footage. Anyway, in addition to making these videos, I'm also a writer, and that's what I'm here to talk to you about today. You know, I had been working on this idea since early 2017. I'm writing a book about my 3 favorite things: bread, wine, and cheese. Around the time I shot that, I was working on my book proposal. And let's start there. Part 1, the book proposal. Because I knew that this book wouldn't just be about cheese, wine, and bread, the products themselves, but that it would be quite experiential, I realized I needed to have some of the experiences that I could write about for the proposal before I actually got any kind of a book deal. So before I even wrote the book proposal, I was cheesemongering at Neal's Yard Dairy at this cheese shop in London. And I also had been to a vineyard and experienced the wine harvest there. So with those experiences under my belt, I started to write. And those were the sample chapters in the book proposal. So what do you need for a book proposal? Like I just mentioned, you need sample chapters. If your book includes any recipes, you'll need some sample recipes, sample head notes. Other things to include in the book proposal: if you have an audience, like if you have any kind of a following online, be it YouTube, be it Instagram, a community who follows you and your work, who has a vested interest in the content that you create, in the work that you produce, do some research in terms of what the market is looking like. So for instance, when I knew I wanted to write about cheese, wine, and bread, and I wanted to tie it into fermentation, so I did a lot of research about what's already on the bookshelves in terms of fermentation, in terms of food, travel, narrative, this kind of book I wanted to write. And I showed that there is an interest in these things, but I also showed that a book like this hasn't been written before. And so why and how I would be filling a void, and why I am the person to do this, right? Why it should say Katie Quinn here as opposed to some other Joe Schmo. And the statistics, the research to back that up. You know, I did a lot of heavy lifting before I even got the book deal, because I knew what this book was going to be when I was pitching it around. And then I got the book deal. And that brings me to part 2, the execution, the doing it. Let's focus on 2019, basically that entire year when I was researching, throwing myself into experiences in the cheese industry, the wine industry, and the bread industry, traveling all around Europe, meeting people, working with people, getting my hands really dirty in these things. So this year that I was traveling a lot, researching, I was also basically being a project manager for the many moving parts, the many elements, and I wrote the book. I wrote a lot. It was a lot of time like staring at my notes and trying to form them into interesting and coherent thoughts. Some days I was so inspired, I would write all morning, get up and go for a run over lunch, and then come back and just keep writing. I was like a woman possessed. You know, and the recipe element of this book, I spent so much time in the kitchen recipe testing as well, and I roped in friends to be incredible recipe testers, and my mom, so incredible, who really dedicated herself to helping me describe sourdough to a sourdough newbie. And in the spring of 2020, I turned in my manuscript. It's not over. This takes me to part 3. Three. I learned in Italy. 3 like this, not like that. This is super American. Italy, America. So, the manuscript is in, now it's time to edit, and this was the thing that shocked me, at just how much work there was to be done after turning in the manuscript. One of the first things was art logging. Here, I've got a spreadsheet. I'm going through photos here that will be in the book, and this is the manuscript. I am continually surprised at like all of these steps that I didn't realize. I'm like, I write the book, right? and there is more to it. Hence why I'm up at early o'clock. But at a certain point, I realized I have a team of people to bring this book into the world. All right, so I just had a call with my publishing house, and I feel so good about it. This is when it felt real. You know, cover art came in, and I got a say in that, which, a quick aside, a lot of author friends of mine told me that they didn't get a say in the cover art, that some of them like weren't happy with the cover art. I'm so grateful that I did get a say, that my publishing house asked for my thoughts and then listened to the feedback I gave, so it really felt collaborative. Then I got something called first pass pages. This is huge because this is the first glance you get at what the book will eventually look like. There's still a lot of work to be done, still a lot of editing and writing and revising to be done, but you see the blueprint and it's almost real. It was shortly after this time that we moved to Italy because when second pass pages came in, which is of course all of the revisions and edits to first pass pages, we were living in Italy. I was doing that editing and revising from this home in Puglia. Which brings me to part 4, actually getting the book in people's hands. Oh my god, I love it. It's here. It's a real freaking thing. I can't believe I wrote this. Hello.
Yeah, I wanted to flip through it. I'm so glad. Oh, nice. So beautiful. It really is beautiful, Pip.
And then the week before and the week of the book launching in the United States, so this is the end of April, those weeks were completely bonkers. I had so much promotion to be done. I was doing all these interviews for all these podcasts. Because of the time difference, I was staying up until like midnight, 2 a.m. here. It was crazy. And one in particular, it was a recipe segment. Here's what happened. Yeah, and you know, you don't want to like, So even though we have a fake studio set where things crash and everything goes awry, I'm really grateful for technology and the ability to promote my book from Italy. I just want to say in conclusion that I'm really grateful that this book is out in the world. This was, nearly 4 years of my life in the making, and very intensely the past 2 years of my life. I hope that this video has given you some glimpse into what the book writing process is like. Happy writing! Thanks for watching this video. As always, thank you to the Quirky Club, my Patreon community who supports me. Thank you so much. Don't forget, everyone, go out and get this book. I'm really proud of it. I think you're really gonna love it. And I'll see you back here really soon. Don't forget to keep it quirky. Ci vediamo alla prossima. Ciao. And I promised I would tell you more about this Italian language course, Italian with Davide. So it is an online master course. It has over 80 video lessons for both beginner and intermediate. Also, he has PDF exercises that go along with the videos so that you can really improve. And there's a community, so you can chat with other people taking the class, and Davide is always available to talk with you on WhatsApp, so I think it's really great. All of the information, the links, if you want to check it out, if you want to enroll, are in the description box below. And full transparency, if you sign up via one of those links, I get a small reward. But I hope you'll consider it's a great way to learn Italian if you've ever wanted to do that. All right, arrivederci. Alla prossima. Ciao.